Dana Green, and this is my policy persuasion speech. Do you think that the current welfare system in the United States is being abused? I think the U.S. should monitor their welfare recipients thoroughly. I'm going to talk about the problem with the current welfare system and how I think a lot of people are currently abusing it. I would like to tell you some of the ways I think we can fix it and some of the benefits that could come from stopping some of the people that are currently taking advantage of the welfare system. Some of the problems with the current welfare system in our country are, according to UCOWF.net, there are recipients who may understate their household income in order to render their household eligible for welfare services. This can be done by underreporting the amount of hours or wages earned by the recipient. An example of that is a recipient in Colorado who forged her pay stubs, reducing the claimed amount of income in her household. As a result, she received $12,000 in child care assistance for over 14 months, in which she was not entitled to. Another way you can take advantage of the welfare system is by not reporting one or more responsible wage earners in the household. A woman in Minnesota claimed that she lived alone when her able-bodied husband was in fact living in the household, and they collected more than $91,000 in child care assistance over 4 years. According to Miva.com, a Rochester, New York woman claimed that her brother was taking care of her 11 children. The welfare payments were sent to in her brother's name to her mother's address. The brother, in fact, had been incarcerated for over 10 years on a rape conviction, and her husband was, in fact, living at home and was taking care of 11 children. The illegally obtained money made the client ineligible for food stamps the family received and the Section 8 house that they resided in. According to Wikipedia.org, in society today, over 12 million people are on some form of welfare, and over half of them are misusing it by simply being lazy. Welfare should only be used for people who truly need it. Not working because of pure laziness doesn't count as needing assistance. If you choose to get pregnant multiple times without having a support system other than the government, you shouldn't be given the hard-working taxpayers' money. Most people who are on welfare don't have disabilities. They choose simply not to work. Why should people be rewarded with a roof over their head, a card to swipe with unlimited food privileges, and a check in the mail for doing absolutely nothing, while the hardworking taxpayers struggle to pay bills, struggle to further their education, and struggle to provide for their families? Today, the upper class has more money than they know what to do with, and the lower class gets everything handed to them, while the middle class, which is 80% of the population, struggles every day to make ends meet. Mm-hmm. If our society continues not to install a proper work ethic into our youth, the government will continue spending more money because fixing the problem isn't going to be easy. Welfare is needed. We just have to make sure we don't misuse it by letting people take advantage of the government. For example, a woman with 4 children who has never worked outside of her home a day in her life, loses her husband suddenly, and now struggles to keep the bank from foreclosing on her family's home. Yet she is looked at to go out now and be the sole provider for her family while working multiple jobs to survive. Yet on the other side of town, another woman with 3 children, never held a stable job, and blows all her extra money on drugs, is living in Section 8 housing with food stamps and government assistance. Why? Because the government looks at middle class as if they just aren't working hard enough, but they have the ability to. While at the same time, they look at people on welfare as if they truly need help, when in reality, they're just enabling the lazy people to keep being lazy. Why would you be motivated to work if you could just keep getting money while sitting around doing nothing? Maybe if they were feeling helpless like the first mother, they would go out and get a stable job to support their families. I think some of the ways we can fix the welfare system in our country are For starters, we should have more of an enrollment process, which involves each individual going through a background check, a drug screening test, and supplying them with a caseworker that does random house calls. You shouldn't judge each individual based on their appearance, so each person needs to be treated as equals and be given the same handouts. Welfare isn't something people should be on for long periods of time. It should almost be treated like unemployment, where after so long, it runs out unless it is truly needed. I think some of the benefits that could come from these changes are with stricter guidelines, we could save some of the taxpayers' money to go towards something more essential. Also, we could give more money to recipients who really need it. Some of the money that we save could go towards some kind of work placement program to help people find jobs. By opening up more employment opportunities like caseworkers who do the random house calls, we could use some of the money we save to help pay them. If you agree with me, that we need to have stricter guidelines for welfare recipients, you should contact your local government officials at kansas.gov, or you can contact them at 1-800-4KANSAS or 1-800-452-6727. Or if you don't live in the state of Kansas, you can go to ucowf.net and click on the Report Fraud tab, and it lists every state and how you can contact your state representative to report welfare fraud. Thank you for listening to my speech, and I hope you enjoyed it.